Hi everyone, this is Homerino here and welcome to the review of the classic collection Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. These guys came out in 2012, which is last year, and they're not to be mixed up with the current show. These are based on the 1988 series, the original Turtles. So before we do anything, let's take a look at the packaging. We see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the top, classic collections by Playmates Toys. 34 points of articulation, which you can see there, and inspired by the original series in 1988. Really nice artwork of those guys. As you can see, this is Mikey's packaging. The packages are all the same except for this. On Mikey and Raph it has the warning, and then Donnie and Leo it doesn't have the warning. No idea why, but there you go. It's really nice that they did carry on the design and the theme of classic Turtles and made this look like it does actually come from the 80s, which is really cool. Here it says City Sewer, so we got half a manhole cover on the top. Quite nice. And then on the back we can see the Turtles, which I have behind me there. And these are the only ones. There's no Foot Ninja, there's no Shredder, Splinter and whatever. It's just these guys. Whether they will come out with something in the future, I have no idea, but for now it's just these guys. And I'm just going to read this because it's, well, I'll just read the first part. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are back like never before in collector quality figures, featuring 34 points of articulation, signature weapons and classic sewer cover bases. These perfect old school cartoon recreations will leave you screaming cowabunga. And that is really a perfect description of these guys. And then you've got about the Turtles there, which you can pause and read yourself. It does have Nickelodeon there. That is just obviously because the show's on there at the moment, so they're obviously either sponsored by them or owned by them or whatever, so that has to be there, but nothing to do with the current show. And extremely well priced. These guys on Amazon right now are like £12 or £14, so that's really very nice. You can transfer that into whatever currency you've got in your country, but they are pretty much the same price as the current Turtles on the market, which I think is amazing because they're collector figures, they come with bases, they look absolutely great, which I'm going to get onto in a second, and have 34 points of articulation. What more can you ask for? They are great bases for other companies to come along and say, hey, we're going to go back to our classic stuff and bring new stuff out. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at the guys. Okay, so here we have Donatello. He's looking pretty cool there with his bow staff, and it is extremely nice. They've gone for a nice white on the centre. It's not, well, you can actually see it really shining away there. It's not got any colour bleeds through from the brown or anything, which is very nice. A lot of white stuff can be discoloured by whatever's underneath it. So they've got plenty of white on there, and you've got the brown on both ends. You can see a bit of uneven paintwork on the sides from when the brown's just sort of, yeah, a bit, not nasty, it's not terrible. And obviously they're not supposed to just be straight lines, so it's alright really. He does obviously carry on his back there very nicely. That is very secure and looks awesome all around. It's a very nice size. As a kid with all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff, I did really want a longer bow staff for Donnie, and this is what you get with this guy. They are 7-inch figures, so obviously the bow staff, and just like all the other weapons, are very nicely sized, but because these are collector's editions, they're extremely nice. So he's got his stuff, and I'll get onto articulation after I've just had a closer look at all of these guys, but they can all hold their weapons very well with very nice grips and get them all into loads of different poses. Faces are just like the classic Turtles. Really nice faces there. Nice teeth and everything. Bandana's pretty cool. It's a softer rubber where it connects, and the rest of it is hard on there. It's not going to come off, that's fine. The belt, just like older Turtles, you can unplug and take off if you wish, and that's very nice. It does, however, go actually underneath, so instead of just like other belts just going there and all around, it actually goes underneath, and then a separate piece comes over for the back here just to create this bottom section, just so that it looks cooler, it looks like it's actually connected, and also so that it's much tighter and it's not just going to come off. The shells, perfect size, not too big, not too small, and do not hinder articulation in any way. Quick look at the base. As you can see, they stand perfectly fine without the bases, but as a collector, you don't know how awesome it feels when you buy something that not just comes with the base, but comes with a collector's style base, something that you are going to be very, very happy with displaying. They each have their own name on there, Turtles, and they look like a nice sewer base. You got a couple of pegs. Nothing special about them, but an absolutely great little addition. And obviously, as you can see, it's great that they all come with one. It's not an added feature, so you've got your pegs on the bottom. So let's whack Donnie back on his and get his bow staff back in his hand and move on to Mikey. So here is Mikey, and personal thoughts, Leo has always been my favourite turtle, closely followed by Raph, then Mikey, then Donnie. But these actual figures, Mikey is by far my favourite, and it's mostly just because of these weapons. They are awesome. So I'll just take him off his stand. And as you can see from these guys as well, you can get pretty nice poses out of them. But his weapons have a nice storage there. As you can see, I have this one posed as if he's just taking it off his back. And then this one, he already has deployed, shall we say. But if I just take that out of his hand to show you, they are metal. So you've got your plastic parts there, but they are a nice hard plastic. This here is not soft, so the metal will not break that. It's going to be perfectly fine. Let's just get this in focus without looking at Mikey. There we go. So you've got a really, really nice detail on the handle itself. You've got silver and orange, but the chain is extremely nice for some really nice nunchuck action there. So you can pose him extremely well with these. It's much better than plastic ones, because I think it was is it 2002 Turtles that were on Fox Kids? Those are the ones that I grew up watching, and the Mikey with that, just like the classic Mikey, the nunchucks were always plastic and in a set pose, so they were bent something along the lines. Oh, there you go. They were bent something along the lines of that, or like a kind of boomerang sort of shape. So you couldn't really do much with them. But the fact that these are on a chain is awesome. Close up look at the belt. He's just got that one round the bottom. The actual mould for them all is exactly the same. They've just got different belts. That is not paint, that's just something that's stuck to it. I'll just get that off. And the face for Mikey. There he is. Really nice as well. Closed mouth. Very nice. And that's also something I like. For once, a Mikey that's not bobbing his tongue out, and you can get a normal one. So now let's move on to Leo. Here he is, Leo, and I have him in some kind of punching sort of training sort of pose there. And that's just showing off how awesome you can get him just in a normal fighting pose, fists and so on. His weapons, obviously he has his katana. Now this is pretty cool. For once it's not just an all blue sword, and also very, very good size. As you can see, let's say that was in his hand there, Very, very nice size. Very, very accurate too. Fits very, very well in the back here. And that looks pretty good itself. Now this one I do have just a little bit of blue splattered there. I'll just focus on that so that you can see that. There you go, you just got a couple of blue dots of paint there. No problem, I can just scratch that off. Love this little blue bit here that's holding them together. Good that they didn't just make that brown plastic like the rest. L there on his belt, yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. Let's move on to Raph. And now Raphael. Looking pretty nice here. Close up of Raph's face. His little angry smile. He's always in this. I can't remember what he's like on the modern Turtles, but certainly all of the classic ones and the 2002 series, they always depicted him in this kind of grimace. Very nice. And the size, which I do really like about this Raph, you can pose his face. I think you can do on the new ones as well. I'll just take him off his base so it's easier to hold. You can put the fingers through those individual parts of the size, which is really, really cool. Alternatively, you can just have him hold them normally like that. Very nice either way. And these look very nice on his belt. As you can see, they are a really, really nice size. And they're not actually, as you can see, they are remaining very straight, depending on how you put them in here. And whatever leg put. I mean, as you can see, the legs don't touch them there, but you know, the chest can come down and just slightly push it off a little bit, but it's not going to bend it. So, also for once, a Raphael that you're not going to get warped size, which is a really, really, really nice little attention to detail there. Now, one thing I'd like to mention is, don't worry, you're not going to break your figures when you first get them. Donnie, I think, was in a pose where his arms were sort of up in some way, shape or form. I can't remember quite what they were like. But basically, the shoulders can be a little bit stiff when you first get them. But they, you know, you just have to give them a little bit of a force, and then the plastic will free up and you'll be able to move them. You're not snapping anything, you're not breaking anything. Just don't worry when you originally get them. And whilst I have Raphael to hand, let's get on to the articulation. So a really, really nice 360 degrees movement with the head. A little bit of pivot left and right, but not too much. And a little bit up and down, it's okay. With the arms, you get a nice big, big, big movement there up and down. 360 degrees at the shoulder. You get a swivel at the bicep. Double jointed arms, nicely covered up by these pads. 360 degrees at the wrist, also covered up by this bit of cloth. 360 degree movement with the thumb as well as up and down, so they're a lot like the shoulders. And individually articulated fingers, so you can swear at someone, or you can give someone a thumbs up and so on. So really nice hands. Diaphragm movement, turn all the way around, and we get a little bit of up and down, which is nice. You don't expect that with something with a massive shell like that, so very nice there. As I say, articulation is the same with all the turtles. Legs, as you can see, I'm literally going forward and back here. They do move out a little bit because of the body shape, but it's perfectly fine. Now it is actually on a ball joint there, so you get that swivel, but at the thigh you also get that swivel. It's not needed, but it's something else that they can put in there to make it up to 34 points of articulation, I guess, so whatever, the more articulation the better. Double jointed knees, covered up by the pads, again very nice. Up and down at the feet, as well as a 360 degree swivel. You cannot pivot them, but that's perfectly fine because the rest of the articulation in the leg basically makes up for that. And then something you don't see very much these days, individually articulated toes. Very nice for those running poses and so on. So with all of that in mind, how great they all are individually, The articulation throughout is awesome. Weapons, awesome. Paint could be touched up a little bit here and there, but little paint splatters like the blue and that little bit that was on Mikey, I think that did turn out to be a little bit of paint, but scratch it off, perfectly fine. So there's no complaints with the actual figures themselves. That's just a little bit of quality control, but no problem, you can just deal with it yourself. Great price. They're the price of the normal guys that are out now, which probably come up to about here on these guys. You know, these are awesome scale, 7-inch. Awesome for collectors. They are completely accurate with their individual colours and head sculpts, bandanas, weapons, absolutely everything. So without a doubt, I massively recommend these guys. Highly recommended for every single reason. Packaging, weapons, articulation, everything. Price though is awesome, and I really do urge you to get them whilst you can, because that price ain't going to stay the same forever. So this has been Homerino. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to catch my other videos, please click the link up here right now. It's been there throughout the video. And subscribe, and if you click the X on there like a naughty child, you can click down below and click subscribe down there. Check out the description for links to other videos, and I'll see you next time, guys.